Hi everyone, welcome to Nichelle's World, and forgive us, this is our first broadcast, but welcome to Nichelle's World. Hi, I'm Nichelle Foster. I'm attorney Nichelle Foster, and on a daily basis, I am constantly being asked different legal questions that are affecting people's everyday lives. So I thought I would share some of my comments that I make to my clients when they, or potential clients, if they call me. And one of the things I'd like to do is have my guests join me right now. One is both a stepfather, and he has children that have a stepfather. So Eric, let me see if I can get you on. Adding you to the screen right now. I thought I was adding Eric to the screen. Technical difficulties. There, I got Man of Tomorrow on. I'm sorry. Joe, how you doing? Joe.
Hey, what's up?
Say hi to
Hey, what's
everybody.
up?
Now I have everybody on the screen. This is Eric. Eric is a wonderful stepfather. He has wonderful children of his own who are staying with their stepfather. And so the question becomes, how do you cope with another man dealing with your children on a
How do I?
more of a daily basis than you do?
Wait, say that again.
How do you cope with your children having a stepfather?
Well, I mean, as far as their particular situation, I don't think he really, in his situation, takes his role all that seriously. I mean, he does feed them and stuff like that, but he, doesn't. I don't know. He doesn't really do fatherly type things, uh, which in a way, for them, that's maybe not good, but it's kept our bond strong, right? Because I do those sort of things with them, or at least I try to. And so, don't get me wrong, there have been some times when there's been some, conflict kind of come up because he'll make remarks or whatever, or, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know, for the most part, I just kind of ignore him and focus on the relationship.
I can imagine it's very challenging.
Yeah, it can be. But, so for the most part, though, I just kind of ignore him.
Now, how long
what?
Father, your stepson's with you right now, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, and I've had him since he was a year old. I mean, so his biological dad is not involved in his life really at all. So that is, I guess, made things less complicated in that sense because I don't have to really deal with him. I mean, I wish he would be involved more because Cadence deserves that. But if it weren't for me being involved in his life, I think he would be a lot worse off as far as the decisions and stuff that he makes. He's already a kind of what I would say a high drive kid. He's hyper and all of that. And so if his mom was trying to manage that on her own, I don't think it would work out so well. So having a male figure in his life that cares about him, I think is a very important thing. And I think that's a problem with a lot of these kids that grow up without dads. They don't know how to be men because their mom can't teach them how to do that. So their mom can teach them a lot, but that's one thing she really can't teach them.
So you recommend it was good for you because your stepson was so young when you took him on.
Yeah,
he hadn't learned bad habits, so to speak.
Right. I mean, he's got his own genetic predispositions, right? But at the same time, he hadn't really learned a whole lot of bad habits, and he from the offset, he learned, what was important, what wasn't important, and I made my fair share of mistakes along the way. I mean, I let them. I think things like I let them play, you know, Call of Duty at too young of an age and things like that, right? But um, he got just some discipline. Without the discipline of a male figure, I think it's very difficult for a little boy to find his place in the world. You know.
Now, because you were married for a number of years and then tragically divorced, did you find it
Right.
hard? Huh? Did you find
That,
it hard to get back into the dating world, like dating a woman that already had kids, that was already divorced like you?
no, because Lauren and I connected on a level with music and with other things. I mean, and the kid was so young at that time. I didn't know what was going to become of it. Obviously, I didn't think I was going to probably marry her, but we started because we were just dating. And it's kind of we started off dating. We were almost really kind of, although we were dating, we kind of were friends at first in a way. Even though I mean it was a physical relationship, but we had more of a friendship going than I had in previous relationships.
How long had y'all been dating before you met her child?
Oh, how long have we been dating before I met Cadence? Like a month? Less than a month? Less than a month? No, I don't know. It wasn't very long. It wasn't very long because she had him with her all the time, because she didn't have anybody to babysit or take care of him or anything because her parents really weren't super involved grandparents. But he was just about to turn 2 whenever he started coming to my house, and so she just asked me, well, hey, can I bring the baby over and whatever, and can we do? Yeah, sure, I don't care. So um, yeah, I didn't mind at all. I mean, it's kind of ironic though. Her son was born on March 25th, which is the same day that my son was born on, and my son had just been taken out of my household by my ex-wife, along with my daughter. While you were sick. While I was sick and going through a nervous breakdown. And then when I found out her son was born on the same day as my son, and I happened to like her a lot, I almost viewed it as like, well, hey, maybe this is God's way of kind of trying to make things whole. I mean, for her and for me. So, because I didn't get to have the daily interaction with my son that I would have gotten to have had I not been divorced. But I still did get to have a daily interaction with a son, her son, you know what I mean? And I raised him like he was my own, and I don't regret it at all. I mean, I think it was a good decision. Um, I know that a lot of guys will say, well, if the chick has kids, I'm not going to mess with her and whatever. Well, I mean, okay, good luck in 2019 trying to find a woman that has no kids anyways. I mean, just about everybody has kids, at this day and age, or has had a relationship that didn't work out or something like that. So I think you might otherwise miss out on a really good relationship and a good woman if you simply disregard her because she has a child,
Joe's
so
being remarkably quiet because I think he's soaking it all in. Joe,
But
now I'm asking you a question. You've been an adamant proponent. You're happily married now, so don't get any. I'm not giving anyone any ideas. But would you made the statement that if you and your wife divorced, you would casually date other people, but you wouldn't want to be around the kids?
yeah, yeah, I don't see nothing wrong with it. I mean, once I do the marriage thing and I'm done, I'm done. I'm not trying to.
I mean, I think it's very. You wouldn't even. How would you? Well, how would you feel, Joe, if you went out on a hypothetical date with a woman and she asked, "Can I bring the kids?"
Okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna stop her from bringing her kid. That's her bringing her kid. I mean, is she paying for her kid? Or like, is she usually when a woman starts bringing a child around the man, she's trying to guesstimate how that man is going to interact with her kid. to see if that is some type of suitable mate, or how's he going to deal with coping with the child and her. So she's trying to guesstimate about his interaction. I mean, that's fine, but I mean, you can either let her know that, hey, I'm not about to do that, or you could just be cordial. I mean, just cordial and say, hey, that, no, that's not for me.
Would
I
you
mean,
treat the kid to part of the date, for example?
huh?
Would you treat the kid to a meal while you're on a date? Or would you expect her to, since you brought the kid, she could pay for the kid?
I don't know. Um, I don't know. I really don't know. If it's like, depends on how far in where we are. But if she's already bringing the kid along and it's like we're only in the first month, then fuck no, I'm not paying for that kid. No, that's you. That's your kid. I'm not paying for that damn kid. I'm not paying for your kid. You pay for your own kid. That already shows me that you're trying to like pass the bag. I'm not doing that. And women do that shit a lot. They pressure a child onto a man. If the man's not ready, then you're off code. I don't believe any man should be
I
pressured
think
onto a
though,
kid or
what do
guilt
you
shamed
think though?
into it.
Like okay, because if you're gonna date the chick though, right? Ultimately, and my phone's gonna die soon. So, but ultimately, she's gonna end up being the kid's gonna end up being part of the package unless you just say, okay, any chick with a kid is a no go, right? So now, if you have that standard and you say, okay, any chick with a kid is a no go, then fine. You know, hey, that's how you feel. I don't see necessarily anything wrong with that because if you're if you're not into it, you're not into it, right? It's attraction
Right.
is not a choice, right? So if you're not attracted to that, you're not attracted to it. But
Joe, somebody's asking, what is a simp?
what's a
What
simp?
is a simp?
Yeah.
A simp is somebody who literally pays for pussy and pays for the gratification of a woman and her type of validation without looking for anything back. Or pretty much he grovels at a woman like, let's say he doesn't mind doing X, Y, and Z for a woman, like taking care of the kid, uh, taking care of the woman, paying bills and stuff. Yet he's not being garnered as that respect of the man in her life or over the kid. That would be a simp. Or a simp is a dude who is literally um doing things that are not in his role as a man. Like, why are you taking care of a kid that's not your kid? That literally you owe nothing to that woman or that man unless you feel entitled to do that. That's on you. But understand, there's a double-edged sword because at any place, at any time, sooner or later, that kid is going to want to seek out his father, depending on if the father gave that child a bad lash, like saying, like, you know what, I don't fuck with you. Because when that kid gets older, that kid is going to want to seek out, well, if the kid knows it has
Sure.
another father, actually has a biological father, he's going to question that man. That's just an inevitable fact. I mean,
Yeah, I think I agree with most of what he said there. I mean, but there definitely has to be a level of respect that you're getting in the relationship where it's not if it's not a two-way street, it's not worth it. I mean, there's no reason to just go around and play forgive me for the vernacular, but Captain Save-A-Ho, you know.
yep. No, it is what it is, Captain Sabo. It is Captain Sabo.
But I'll say that, the kid should, of course, probably seek out their biological dad later on in life. I will say this, though. I think had I not, and hopefully Cadence won't end up in a lot of trouble, but I think had I not been in his life for the last, you know, 12 years or 11 years now, he's been alive for 12 years, but I think he would end up in prison. That's what I think. Because, I mean, that's his biological dad has been in and out of jail, in and out of jail, in and out of jail. His mom is a good mom, but she doesn't, she's got emotions, so she's going to handle things more emotionally than me.
Right.
And I'm more gonna be like, all right, bend over, I'm gonna whoop your ass. Now if I'm not getting the ability to be able to step in and discipline the kid, if I'm providing for the kid, I'm gonna discipline the kid, right? Because it's like I'm raising him like he's my kid. So I'm not gonna allow him to just do whatever the fuck he wants to do, you know. Um,
Well, let me ask you a question. It's going to sound very unusual. Ask out. I'm just asking. Women can learn from this as well as other men.
okay.
Do you feel? You said you're raising him. You have to be able to raise him like he is your son.
Yeah.
Is there? But you still have your son.
Right.
Son. You understand? Does loving a stepson lessen anything your relationship with your own son? Have you ever noticed any jealousy between the two of them?
Not really, but I'll tell you, at first it was hard for me to emotionally attach to the stepson. At first, because I did I did step in and kind of fulfill the role, but it was mostly I was interested in her, and I felt kind of guilty giving him the time that I could have been giving to my biological son, right? But my biological son, I didn't have as much access to him except on the weekends because of the divorce and whatever, and so I felt kind of guilty at first giving him the kind of love that I whatever. I felt weird, and so. Um, Lauren kind of subconsciously tricked me into that. No. Yeah, she started kind of being a jerk towards him, her kid sometimes, which made me defend him, So, hey, why are you treating him like that, So, because she said that she knew if she did that, she would get me. She was pretty smart. She read me and said, all right, I'm going to do this and, increase the bond. Yeah, she didn't abuse him, and she's in front of me. She didn't abuse him or nothing. She just kind of disconnected a little bit in front of me, and then that kind of made me connect with him. And
That is very telling. That is very telling.
yeah, it is. I mean, and it was smart of her, but and hey,
Very risky.
I can respect the game, so to speak. I mean, she's a good woman. I love her. She was trying to watch out for the best interest in her kid, and she wanted me to bond with them, and she knew kind of that that's what she needed to do. And it worked out, in this situation. I don't know that it would always work out, obviously. But and then once I kind of bonded with him, then she started, being more normal how she was before with him,
It took about 2 months.
Okay.
But it took.
And we just kind of pushed him away and pushed him towards you.
I have some. Okay, so I have some angst against that,
Sure.
but okay, so my thing is this. So the thing about it is, a lot of kids who grow up in single parent homes, they don't naturally get a balance of love. Okay, they don't get a balance of
Right.
love.
Right.
All right. Now,
Yeah.
so I'm looking at the notes of what happened. I don't, like I said, what already is done is done. Y'all love. I can't get mad at that. I just feel
Right.
like it was more so of a coach towards that direction. Which you openly say, yeah, it was. It was more so coach.
Sure.
Which, I mean, you fell in love with the child regardless, but you also felt like have you ever
Well,
actually?
I felt more in love. I felt more in love with her, and then the child to me was like it wasn't a deal breaker, right? At first, so I was like, okay. And so the fact that he had that same birthday and stuff and all that was probably one of the reasons I was willing to. I was like, this is strange. There's circumstances that surrounded it that made me say, okay. But I didn't really bond with him at first because I was just kind of like, all right, you're part of the deal, but I don't know how long this is gonna last. I don't know if I'm gonna get married to this girl. I don't know if we're gonna be together forever. But for now, the kid is fine with me, and I'm gonna bond with you. And the deeper that I bonded with her, obviously, then it's like, well, the kid's a part of the package deal now. So I started to bond more with him. I don't know, 6 months or so into the relationship, I would say, between me and Lauren, and so it was kind of a gradual thing. But when she kind of would see that I would show, because I did kind of show favoritism towards my biological kids at first, and now it's more evened out. I try to be fair and love him like he's my own and everything. I mean, and against the time they don't. I mean, obviously there's And my phone is getting really low. Obviously, there's some difference in the relationship I have with my biological kids versus him, but there's not really much of a perceivable difference, I would say. You know, I can send you the link.
And your stepson doesn't go through that whole "you're not my father" kind of thing. It looks like we just lost him.
Hold on. No, I'm going to text you the link, and then you just click it, okay? And then I'll get on there through your phone.
Okay, they're trying to join back.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a very complex thing, but I think it's a good thing overall because he ended up with a dad in his life, and I ended up with a.
So it was a good trade-off, basically. But ladies, if you're watching this, I hope you learned something. That basically, if the guy doesn't meet your kid within the first month, if you want to test to see if this is the kind of guy that, if you want to see if this is the kind of guy that perhaps would be a stepfather for your child, not just another baby daddy, but actually would be considering marrying you, taking a whole package, I want to introduce the kid to him within that first month and find out right there and then whether he's ready to run or not. I'm not saying leave him alone with the kid, but introduce him to the kid in a sheltered, protective environment just so you can get the reaction. Don't you think so, Joe? Did I lose Joe too?
Oh, you muted my mic.
Oh, sorry. Now I'm back. I'm sorry. I was trying to get static out.
No, I do not agree with none of that. I do not. That is bad advice.
It was an accident.
No wonder why you women are going to be dying alone and desperate. Y'all do too much conniving shit. Go introduce your child the first month. Hell no. No. Why would you do that? Don't we get enough? No,
because she is a married woman. She is a married woman, whereas a lot of other women are sitting around in their 50s and 60s still trying to get Mr. Charlie to come spend a little time. They don't want to be alone.
So what?
So
who cares?
Yes.
Yeah,
obviously
but
there are a lot of people that
she tricked him. She tricked him to get him to actually bond with the kid. That's not no happy story. She tricked him. What are you trying to tell women? Trick a man to feel bad for your kid?
Well, it's rather than waste your time. I'm saying don't waste your time. These are the killers. She took a risk that within that first month, she found out whether or not this guy would even remotely consider bonding with her child.
Right.
Would remotely consider her a package deal.
We got enough single mothers who take a risk and show their kid off to the man and get sexually abused, or child gets killed, or child gets hurt, or the mother neglects the child for some penis, or the woman goes out on a party and leaves the child. Like, I think we already got that one down pat. Like, that's not a
but
good.
Those women are just idiots. Those women are just idiots. That what I said is, and what Lauren did was, hey, we have a date tonight. Can I bring the kid? They were going in public. She was not leaving the kid alone with him. She kept her eye on the kid at all times. They went on the date and she took her kid home. But it was a test to see if he were even remotely considerate. She wanted to see how her son would interact with him, vice versa.
So you're doing this pretty much based off of, you know what, I'm getting old. What the fuck I got to lose? And shit, let's just let the good times roll. Is that what we're going off of? If we're going off that merit, then, I mean, goddamn. I mean, people are going to be getting that, but we can pull that up on POF. I got 2 or 3 kids. Only God can judge me. You can either deal with me and my child or not. A lot of men say, fuck it. I'd rather not. I'm not dealing with that shit. You ain't going to tell me what I'm going to deal with. And I mean, no.
Okay, then they need to know that. They need to know that. You say
Oh,
women are in charge of who they sleep with. Women are in charge with who they sleep with. Well, if a woman is in charge of who she sleeps with and she knows she has a child already by another man, she needs to make better decisions. And one of those decisions is if she's dating a man that just wants to play around with mommy to get from the kid and her job and everything else, then she needs to know sooner than later before she gets another baby daddy because accidents do happen.
she don't know to put on birth control. Birth control don't exist now.
Birth
Birth
control
control?
only has a 60%
No, don't
60%
stop.
success rate. So accidents do happen while you are
Okay,
on
I
birth
mean,
control. Yes,
then the
men
guy can
have
put
birth
on,
control too, my
then
God.
the guy can put on the condom. Boom. Guy can put on the condom. Hey, take take no chances, fellas. If you, I'm like this. See, this is why I try to tell a lot of these men. Within the first month, if she's already trying to push a kid off on you on the first month, that's a big flag of something is afoot. I want y'all to remember. What Michelle is telling y'all is, hey, stepdaddy sounds okay. Within the first month, ladies take note. What are we on? Goddamn that damn show with that damn tranny girl, whatever that Wendy Williams.
No, we are sitting up here saying right now, ladies, take notice. If you didn't hear, both men are saying that if in the first month I have to be
But
around your kid,
see,
if I'm not trying to be stepdaddy, I'm not even going to consider it.
but he is a 1 out of 10 chances that one, he did not have his child. So guess what? He found another child to fill the void of not having his child. So I understand that. Listen, I know what it's like to be a dad when I don't have my kid. Guess what?
What?
I start doing dadly things like coaching football. I started
Huh?
actually helping other kids because a father, when he actually steps in nature, like, hey, I like being a dad. He's going to actually, if he can't touch his kid, he's going to naturally touch other children and start reach out to them because he wants to fulfill that void of being a dad. She saw that and said, you know what? He still has that in that nature in him. It's not like I'm mad because honestly, they're happy together. If I would be pissed off if he's like, you know what? Shit, she was pregnant. She didn't tell me. I'm like, oh, fuck that dog. We got to get you out of this shit. But he's happy. But the thing about it was he already had a kid. Listen, I'm like this, brothers. If you have a kid, go find somebody who already has a kid. Don't that I'm fine with. If you got a kid, go find somebody who has a kid. So he dug into it. See, Michelle, this is why you don't get it. You're a woman, so you're not going to catch it like he got it and I got it. He's a man who already has a kid. So he sought after somebody of like-minded, a woman who has a kid. That's nothing wrong with. I got nothing wrong with that. But
Well,
see,
I'll say. Can y'all hear me?
yeah, go ahead.
So I'll say this: like I didn't,
Yeah.
I definitely didn't seek after somebody with a kid. I mean, actually, my goal at the time, man, because I had my ex left. She took the, hey, Lauren, this thing's dead. Wait, no, it's
Hey,
not.
can I invite somebody into this? We got some, I got a guy who wants in on this.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I definitely didn't seek after somebody with the kid. I mean,
Okay.
my thing at the time was I had just had my ex-wife leave, took the kids, whatever. I was kind of more in the mindset of, hey, okay, I'm single now. I'm gonna go have fun, you know.
Huh?
But I ran across Lauren and bonded with her. I didn't really expect to. I mean, I was initially trying to talk to as many girls as I can because you know how us men are when we're single, right? It's just like, okay, I'm gonna play the field or whatever. But whenever I came across Lauren and bonded with her, I realized that we had a lot of things in common as far as our morality, as far as our core values, our worldview, things like that. And so because we had those things in common, I was willing to say, okay, and because, I didn't, you're right, as far as, I had a kid used to being around my son and then all of a sudden I wasn't, it did kind of help ease the pain, right, to a degree, to have, her son around. Um, but it definitely wasn't it wasn't something something I set out
It
to
wasn't.
find.
I get you was
Find
something that you were
addictive as a
seeking
kid,
out for.
you know.
But now I want to ask you this. I want to ask you this. Would you? Because I didn't agree with Nichelle saying that ladies, if you have the first month, bring your child around the man. Would you like it now? You being a father, like it if your ex would be bringing your son around men within the first month? Would you agree upon that?
Well, not really. I mean, but I'm involved with my kids, so I would probably speak up and say, hey, what are you thinking? Especially if it became a pattern where she had guy A around my kids 1 month, and then guy B around my kids the other month, and guy C around my kids the next month. And that did happen actually some when we split up, and it pissed me off. Um, in his case, guy, the biological dad was not involved at all. He had actually went to jail, and then whenever he got out, he wanted to all of a sudden act like for a second he wanted to be involved with his kid, but once he realized she didn't want to be involved with him, he didn't really want anything to do with the kid at all. And it's just kind of been that way ever since. Like, he's been like, hey, well, you signed up to take care of my kids, so I'm not going to have anything to do with them. Well, okay, and in a way it's worked out easier in that way because the dude is super immature. But if he decided he wanted to have something to do with them and Cadence wanted him around, then I would welcome it. But yeah, to answer your question directly, if in that situation, I didn't really like the idea of my kids being around all these different dudes, especially so quickly and whatever. But I expressed that to my ex-wife now, but my ex-wife, of course, didn't give a fuck what I thought, so it's just that's why she's the ex-wife, right? I mean, she don't care what I thought, so but no, yeah, I get your point, and I think it's a
But
valid
she
point.
eventually remarried, did she not? She's not a single mother anymore, so to
Yeah, she
speak.
did. She did eventually remarry, but it was, hey, Sammy, if you move out the way. But like at first when we split up, we were, I think, 27 when we split up, and she was, running around with like 18, 19, 20-year-old guys, and then after that, then it was like this really.
Wait, how old was she when she was doing that?
She was like
27.
27. Yeah, I mean, she's a year
Wow.
younger than me, so she's.
Oh man, I got some words for that one. Your
Yeah.
your ex-wife was trying to son a man with trying to she's pretty much she was playing the package deal where look, I got a place, I got video games, all this shit. I just need mobile penis or a young little fawn gimp to take that place. Yeah. And I know you're like, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, stop. Like, stop playing these games around with our kid. Because that I we got words for that. And but like I said, I get your frustration because I don't agree with nobody pulling just any old type of adult. I don't think you should bring anybody around your kid. We agree on that, correct?
Oh yeah,
You
you
should,
got
I
to be
agree.
careful because you never know. You might be bringing a predator around your kid.
I
right.
mean, you shouldn't bring anybody around yourself. First of all, that there still should be 4 dates, 5 dates before you are looking at this person like, let me see how, if he's considering me as a package deal, does he understand what the other part of the package might be?
How many days can
If
you go
that
on in a
first
month?
date, excuse me,
How many days can you go on in a month?
how many dates I go on in a month?
Yeah, in a
How many
month.
days?
I,
I saw her. Well, when we first got together, we saw each other constantly. I mean, you know what I mean. So it
Does
was.
that count? Does that count for a date, or does that just count for we're just talking?
No, we were constantly going out. I mean, because I
yeah,
actually was running my own little kind of side deal, and I had all the time I wanted. You know what I mean. So it was we were. I saw her probably every other day. You know what I mean, for during that. So as far as she did bring him around within about a month, but I would say that the time frames that we had were collapsed compared to most people. So we probably saw each other as much as somebody who might have been going out for 8 or 9 months. You know what I mean? Before
Right.
so that the time frame was really kind of collapsed due to the amount of time that we had already spent together, prior.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
I'm simple. I'm old fashioned. I mean, if I meet a guy, he asks me on a date. First date's a job interview. Okay, maybe if I agree to go out with you, I'll listen to what you have to say, what you have in your head. Second date, is not guaranteed.
Yeah.
Third date, you make it past third date, we're usually seeing each other almost daily from that point on. That's the way my husband got me. Every long-term relationship before then, it was like if you made it past the fourth to fifth date that usually occurred within the first 10 days, we they usually proposed. I just had it like that, I guess.
no,
But I
no.
never was into the friends with benefits. No, we don't play friends with benefits. Monogamy is still a predecessor in my mind to you have to have a monogamous relationship before you can have a monogamous marriage. So if you just hanging,
Yeah.
I mean, an older black woman told me, she said, well, when I was younger raising kids, I didn't seriously date any man because I didn't want him around my daughters. Her daughters are now single mamas, and she is in her 60s running around looking for Mr. Charlie and Mr. Jones, you know, doing a little bump and grind every now and then because her daughter has had to move back in with her.
Yeah.
Because those are the things that I have older men
Go
that
that
can't
way.
figure out how to work their technology that have
Go to your mom. Where are you going?
that are looking for older women. If you're married, if you are in your 60s and you're dating a woman in the 60s, guess what? You're still going to be a stepfather. One of my favorite things was when my mother's pastor Methodist, so they can marry. He said he was looking for a older woman whose kids were already out of the house. Well, guess what? He found her, and then her grandkids moved in the house. He
Yeah,
wasn't expecting that part of the package deal.
I would have left that
So
bitch.
Yeah,
huh?
be a little
I would have
crazy.
left her. Man, didn't she move those kids in? I said, bye. You playing games now. You cheat. Cheat. No, no, no. I would have left. I would have, nope. Why'd you? Did she ask him?
I mean, her daughter died, so I don't
Okay.
really
Oh
think she
shit.
was. Yeah, her
So her
daughter
daughter,
was killed. All
so
right,
her daughter died, and she moved
the
the.
grandchildren in.
Okay. Why didn't you put? Why didn't you tell us that? You just said that she just moved the kids in.
No, I said that one of the pitfalls that you have is even if you marry someone who has all adult children, you may wind up with the grandchildren. And I said it like that because sometimes the children, it could be because the mother goes to jail. I have a girlfriend whose husband's daughter just went to jail and they've taken in the grandkids. And she's like, I wasn't expecting this. This wasn't part of, I'm trying to deal with. I now have to play grandmother to children that were traumatized by a mother that was addicted
This
to
thing is like
drugs.
on and off. Can we hurry up? Yeah. Okay.
Now, question. Now, is this did she ask her mate for this, or she just said, "I'm going to do this"?
I think it was one of those situations when you hear that your significant other's child has died. There are not a lot of questions that are going on. It's just let me get there and see what's going on. And then the questions become, okay, what are we going to do with the kids?
So
And
that was
Hey,
a
Lloyd,
no.
what's up?
So that was a no.
I'm saying that the way I understood from the
Might be.
gentleman,
Yeah.
he could not imagine what other options there were for the kids. The father was MIA. So the kids could either go to foster care and he'd have to live with a woman who knew that her grandkids had gone to foster care. There have been other cases where the grandmother moved the child in and the father,
What?
he said, no, I didn't sign up to be step grandfather. I'm out of here. And
Hey, Sam, grab me one of them smart world
it
packs.
does happen. I'm not saying right or wrong. You have to know your own boundaries. But just assuming that just because you're dating an older man or an older woman, that the idea of being a step grandparent won't play into the picture as well, and you may have those kids in that house as well, or even the grown kids might come back to that house.
I think what it
So
really
I'm just
comes down to is this: if
saying that
you,
when we talk about the number of African American kids in the foster care system, a lot of times it is because the grandmother will not. Her husband, her boyfriend doesn't. She doesn't want to be bothered, so the kids wind up going into the foster care system. You have a lot of men who already have kids that don't want to be burdened with another man's kids because they're not taking care of their own kids.
Maybe it is.
That's a real thing that women in the dating world should be aware of.
you order a puppy pen or
Now,
whatever.
if the guy doesn't have any kids, if the guy didn't have any kids, I don't know why he would want. It's like ask a woman first date, do you have any kids? Yes.
So
Okay. Thank you. Pleasant evening. Goodbye.
So let's ask Eric, since we asked about African American. I want to know from the Caucasian side, is that something that they choose not to? With we see a lot of movies where they say, "Well, I'm not taking care of these damn kids. I'm sending these kids off," and literally he just now talked about his he's taking on a child that it took a while for him to actually he had to. I'm not gonna say train that child in a way like, "Hey, I'm your dad. I'm going to be rearing you the way you should go." And I hey, I'm not I'm against a man being a man, no matter who you
Nature
are.
versus nurture.
So,
That Eric
but
did have to step in with his nurturing.
like I said,
So, hey, what I was going to say real quick is I think though a lot of it comes down to this: if you really love the woman, right, and then if you don't, then fuck it, the whole thing's not worth it, right? Because we go through a lot of hell for women, and I know that women go through a lot of hell for us too. It's part of it. I mean, a relationship, especially if you're married, is supposed to be for better or for worse. People don't really seem to take that very seriously nowadays. They think that marriage is disposable, but and I don't agree with that. I think that if you care for someone, you got to be there through thick and thin. And I think part of that thick and thin is like if you're in that situation like Nichelle described, if you're fully committed to the woman and something like that comes up, obviously you want to do what's best for her mental health, and your own. I mean, you got to take that into balance. You guys got to have that conversation. Well, are we going to take these kids on and whatever, you know what I mean? And if you come to the agreement that, yeah, that's what you're going to do, well, then fine, I mean, that may be something that I think that could be something that's a big enough thing. It could split people apart for sure. Because maybe he says, hey, I'm not doing this. And she says, well, if you're not doing it, then obviously you don't really care about me. I mean, you know what I mean? So it's I don't know. I think if you care enough for her, you're probably willing to do whatever and hopefully have that reciprocated back to you, in some way down the road. It's kind of like my mom. My dad got a brain cancer when he was 39, and okay, thank you. As unable as he was with that, because all the things that went through, I mean, she literally put him in the shower, washed him. I mean, she did everything for him, and I saw that as an example growing up. Hey, this is what real love looks like. It's to be there for real when the shit hits the fan. And so I think it's a rare quality nowadays. But if you find somebody that has that quality, and hopefully you yourself have that quality, you can reciprocate, then you can make it through the storms. And some of the storms might include additional responsibilities that you didn't expect, hopefully not, because that sounds like a major pain in the ass, really, to be honest. But, at the same time, if that lady's kids die or daughter died, and now all of a sudden you inherited the grandkids, I mean, I wouldn't really want to do that, but I probably would, just because how is she going to, either that or I need to probably get out of the relationship with her, because she's going to despise you from that point on. Regardless, if you make her grandkids go to foster care, things are just not going to be the same between y'all, from my estimation,
I mean, one of the most difficult things family situations I've ever encountered was a friend of mine from college. her mother had actually been raped. Mother was married, was raped, was afraid that it might be her husband's child or it might be the rapist's child. Well, lo and behold, when the baby was born, it was obviously not a white man's child, her white husband's child, and she was not African American either. So the husband had to decide, was he going to raise this child that was
Raise the rape
obviously
baby.
the rape baby?
Yeah.
The child was going to grow up realizing that this was not her biological father. There was no way to hide it.
Right.
And he was committed to his wife. So he raised this child. And as she got older, she wanted to find out literally who her father was, who was a convicted rapist. So let's be honest. The fear that her parents had was understandable. Like, why do you want to reconnect with this man that's a convicted rapist?
Yeah.
But she satisfied her curiosity, met the man, and I think cut all ties from then on. But there are all kinds of dynamics that you have when men take on being the role of a stepfather. I mean, it's a noble role. You shouldn't look at these men as like simps, fools, idiots, especially if they have their own kids. I mean, I know some men that
I'm
became
not.
stepfathers
I'm
and
not
never
for
ever
that.
had in their own biological kids.
Listen, if somebody want to do that, I'm not stopping them. They understand what they sign up for. It is a stoic thing that they know as a man that, hey, this is not a role that every man is going to look at me and say, "Wow, I can't believe you did that." And everybody gonna be like, "Wow, I can't believe you did that." Women don't mind saying that dumb shit. Oh, this is the a man has to choose whether he wants to tolerate or deal with that.
Sure.
You women, you're talking stuff that you don't understand from that of a man. If a man takes on that of a stepchild and he leaves that woman, guess what? The court can still make him take care of that child. Even though that is not his kid, even though he already got his own damn child support or some other shit, he will still have to take care of that child. And guess what? There's
It
nothing he can
depends
do.
on the state. It depends on the state.
Well,
It
guess
really
what?
does.
Well, guess what? I'm in the South. I'm in the South. He takes on a child in any of these Bible states, feeds them,
Not
clothes
in
them.
Texas. Not in Texas. Oh
Well,
no, no,
guess
no.
what?
Stepfather.
Well, say
No.
he better stay his ass in Texas. I'm sorry, but that's one state, and we're in 49 other states. And you come out here outside of your little Texas law, yeah, out here,
But
nah.
he has no real legal, at least under Texas law. I had a gentleman that literally divorced his wife. Very simple thing. He told his stepdaughter she was grounded. She had flunked. Flunked. I mean, just flunked. Just fooled around and flunked. He bought her a car. She got so into the car she flunked. He said, "You're grounded. Grounded for 2 months. I don't care. You can't go anywhere, do anything but study for 2 months." Her biological father
Excuse
said,
me.
no, because I'm planning on a big sweet 16 birthday party for her during that 2 month period. And now, man, she gonna go to that party. And he said, I pay my child support. I pay $400 a month in child support. And my friend looked at him and said, dude, that is one meal a week for us to go out on. That's what we use that money for. We go out. It does not support your child. Your child lives in a $500,000 home. I just bought her a $15,000 car.
What
And
does
you
that
want to
mean?
say that the fact that the father was not concerned about his own biological child flunking. He was more concerned about showing her off at a sweet 16 party. When he told the mother, the wife, he said, you got to choose. Either you're going to let our daughter go to this party or you're going to listen to your old man. She listened to her the kid's father. The old man left. He said, bye. Another
Now
man's not going to run the house.
let's look at that. Let's look at that. So you literally brought up a man who put her in $1 million home, did X, Y, and Z, and Eric's listening.
Yeah.
And literally, the dad who pays less than nothing literally just said, I want to do a Sweet 16, regardless of her predicament, do all that shit aside, said, now I'm going with my daddy. Do you not understand? And Eric understands, and I understand this because we're men, and that regardless of the shit you're saying about throwing out the money, that don't mean shit to a kid. If a kid says, hey, daddy's here to take you to go throw a baseball, mind you, I just bought you a go-kart, we can go do this. 9 times that kid is going to sometimes run with their own pack or their dad. that is sorry, but they're going to go with their blood. It is an innate nature of the child to go bond with with the silverback. That is just it is. If Eric can probably be, not saying he could be a piece of shit dad who gets locked up, but if he shows up with a football, granted his son can be inside that a goddamn mansion. His son's gonna run out of that mansion and go play football with his dad. It don't even matter.
Well,
Like
nobody
that.
said kids were known to
So
have
that
the
means
most common
money means
sense.
nothing to a kid money means nothing to a kid being with their biological dad. That is the stokeism of being a stepfather. Why some men choose not to, unless that child has been abused and say, I am done with my dad. I do not want to fuck with them. And that's usually when they're a teenager or some shit. Other than that, no. They or the mom probably fucked up that kid and fucked up that kid. And women do that where they'll say your dad ain't shit, your dad, your dad did this and all that stuff. And that's hard to actually separate that type of energy of a man, of a woman from a woman and a child if the father can't be there and defend himself. So the child is going
I
off
can
the narrative
understand
of
that.
the mom.
I can
So,
understand that. What I'm saying is the
but you don't
mother
understand
was
it.
one that
You
was
don't.
wrong. The
You
mother
don't
was wrong.
understand.
The mother was wrong. That's the one thing you have not ever heard got across. The mother, the daddy went to the mother and said, "You're gonna have to choose." As a mother, she should have had the common sense to say, "If my husband says she's grounded, then she's grounded." I
Yeah, for
understand you.
sure.
You have to. Women, if you want to have a stepfather in your child's life, you have to understand you side with the husband. And a lot of
Hey,
women are like, well,
I'm gonna exit stage left for now, but
we appreciate you being on the show. We're getting ready to wrap it up anyway. Everyone, Joe, Eric, thank you so much for both of your perspectives and your insight on how men feel about the stepfather role from both
no,
perspectives. Because
you know what?
also,
I agree with him on more than I disagree. So I mean, but I get where he's coming from. I also get where you're coming from. I think what it really comes down to is it's a very it's a very individualized, decision, and it's a case by case basis. I don't think it's one of those things you just kind of can lump into a situation. I will say this: I don't think that if you're into a girl, you're single and whatever, that you just disregard the entire relationship because she has a kid. You know what I mean? Because then you're narrowing your possibilities so much that maybe you could have had a more quality person that just happened to have a kid. You know what I mean? So, whatever. And God works in mysterious ways. So you just kind of got to always be in tune to that. Does this feel right? Or do I feel like somebody's trying to use me or, fuck me in this situation? And if that's the case, steer
you
clear.
exit stage left, understandably.
Yeah.
Exit stage left.
Yeah.
That is the role. And I'm just saying that in you saw the open hostility. Joe was like, "Oh no. Once I'm not going to spend more time with any other man's kids than I will spend with mine because of the risk. There are risks and there are rewards." And you talked about
There's
the
definitely risk, and
I get what
I'll
Eric is
tell
saying.
Scott, which is biological dad of Cadence. He's seen him like what 4 or 5 times in his life. Is that right? What do you say, Lauren? 3, 4, 5. But one of the things he did with him was he played ninjas with him at night one time, where they ran around. Who knows? Scott was probably high, but he was running around with a t-shirt tied around his face, playing ninjas. Well, for fucking like 5 years, I always heard about how, well, my dad likes to play ninjas, and that was his only reference to his dad, right? So to him, even though to me his dad is a piece of shit, to him, his dad is this cool guy that liked to play ninjas with him, right? So he's right about that biological bond that they're gonna want to seek out at some point. That's fine with me because for me, the main thing was I took on the relationship with him as an extension of the relationship with her, right? I was like, okay, this for me is not a deal breaker. So if he goes and he wants to be cool with his bio dad down the road, fine, whatever. You know what I mean? at this point he's become a lot smarter and stuff, and he kind of sees how he is. I don't think he'll probably actively
Right.
seek it out, but if he does, fine. Go seek it out. Whatever. You know what I mean? Go live with his ass. I don't care. You know what I mean?
No. But see, I can. You know what? I get you with that, Eric. Like I said, I'm not baiting against you on that shit. Like, hey, some of y'all guys, you get the battlefield that you're in.
Yeah.
Whereas to, hey, I'm in love with her. I know what I signed up for. I accept my shield, and it is what it is. Like,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? It
But
is
also
that.
remember, he has children who are living with a stepfather, and he has fears about that too.
Sure.
It's
Okay,
not like.
right.
Go ahead.
No. I got nothing against him. You know, doing that, but he also, but like I said, um, being a stepfather, not a lot of men are doing that anymore. Not a lot of men are doing that. There is more
And I
like fucking
understand
go.
why somebody would opt out of it. I mean, I think that somebody, if you have a baby with someone, you're. Unfortunately, we have too many men that are bailing out on their own kids, which is really the big root problem, right? But
Right.
then you have these kids that grow up without dads, and they all end up in trouble and stuff. Not that having a dad is a foolproof solution against a kid turning out bad, but statistically, it's definitely significant. Most of the kids that are in jail and all that grew up in single parent households because mom doesn't know how to teach the kid how to be a man, and she'll scream and yell at him and whatever. And I mean, I know because my wife does. She gets mad at him, she screams, right? But me, I'm gonna light his ass up, and so the respect level for me is probably a little higher than it is for her. Now that's kind of unfortunate. I'm just like, hey, you should light his ass up. You know what I mean? But
Right. No. That makes sense. Like, I mean, like I said, I've seen it from my polarization, and I'm not gonna lie. I was like for me, I was looking at it from the polarization of the black father's experience of a stepfather versus the white father's thing.
yeah,
Um, and there are going to be some similarities, which how you just said, and I admit, like, hey, yep, that shit does make sense. Yep, that shit does happen. That shit does happen to both sides of the spirit. Like that is tribunal. Now, when it comes to the pressuring of the children onto a man, I don't know how that is on the white side, but that very much so happens, especially with young single mothers. They do that a lot. They
sure.
do that a lot where they pressure their child, and some young
Well, yeah,
men,
they're baby daddy shopping, right?
right? It's baby daddy shopping. So
And it
it
backfires. It backfires a lot of times. That's why you have multiple baby daddies, because the woman was trying to maybe have a little fun, a little stress relief, whatnot. No birth control is 100%. I mean, it backfires. She found a man that did not want to be a father to the kid she already had because he didn't want to be a father, period. So the telltale signs are there, but a lot of women don't want to see it. And then they wonder why. They believe that just because I have two or three kids does not mean I'm not as sexy as I was or as marketable as I was if I didn't have any kids. No, baby. I don't want my little brother marrying. My little brothers would not marry anybody that already had kids because big sister wasn't. No, 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 no.
now, was this during the era of social media or non-social media?
My little brother just got married 2 years ago.
Okay, so did he have any kids?
No.
Okay, put it
Hey,
like
so
this.
I'm gonna bounce off here real quick. So I'm in Walmart and I need to try to
Check out.
curtail the budget. So
You go for it, Eric. Thank you.
all right, later.
We learned a lot.
So all right, let's put like so what you're saying, and I'm trying to let you know. Listen, young people don't give a shit so much really anymore. If she's down, if she's down the pound, whether she got a kid or not, I'm gonna get mine. That's just it is what it is. Now, unless
Right, and that's what women need to understand too. It goes both ways. If a guy is just down to pound, then no, you do not have your kid around him, and you don't need to stay around him too long yourself.
some females don't care. Females do not care. Listen, that is the whole package deal. They get the Section 8 apartment, or they'll go get a house, or the girl works at a call center.
That's one third. That's 1/3 of the African American community.
1/3 of what? Where are you at?
1/3 of the African American community is on some form of financial assistance.
That's America. That ain't no just African American community. That's America. That's America.
I'm just saying that we're also talking about the middle class women of all colors who don't need Section 8, who have a job, and some who are upperly mobile. They have more than
okay. So have you been watching what's been going on in like real social media with rich men who have money, who literally begin hit up by IG models, who literally get knocked up, and they actually don't even care if the woman got a baby. They still smash, still knock them up, and they go on and say, well, shit, oh, well, she got me. Fuck it. I still got the pound, and I bagged that. That ain't no small. That's any man and any woman is now playing the game. You're getting women who got money and can say, well, I got $1 million, but they can't get a man to stay in the house. Because they know that, listen, I'm not about to be
subservient correctly. They are not. They are looking for a man that is not looking for a woman. They are encountering men that just want to have sex. And just like guys will sit up there and do a cat call to see if she's interested, women used to have the fine art of, okay, if I'm going to seduce the man, am I seducing him for marriage or just sex? Now women don't seem to understand that men decide whether or not they're going to marry or not, or just pound. They always have. They always will. So you can't be the best thing that ever happened to him financially, sexually, or whatnot. He has to realize it in his mind that he wants to stay with you for however long or for whatever he wants out of the relationship. Men nowadays know how to cook. Most men, period, black or white, they were raised by a working mother. So they did not have, Hilda coming when they got home from school with cookies waiting for them. They usually went home, fended for themselves. They knew where the food was in the cabinet. They had chores they had to do before mama got home, before daddy got home, if they both were together, because that was not the role of the mother, was do all the cooking and cleaning, because she was working as well. And she wasn't using her money to hire a maid or a housekeeper. What I'm saying is the reason you have so many women unmarried is because they don't recognize the signals between a man who wants to just pound, so to speak.
So what's the point of getting married anymore? What's the point of getting married if I can do everything?
Most men that I've talked to, when they talk about why do they get married, it was to expand their empire. It was to build on to what she added value to what he already had.
Is that what they told you?
That's what they said about their wives.
No, they
said.
They told you the glorified answer. They told you the glorified answer.
It is what it is. But then when they get ready to divorce, it's back to, why she gonna take half of my shit? No. And it's very difficult to explain.
What them telling you that expanding the empire, that was a lie, because men only make kids just to see themselves last. Whenever a man watches his son catch a football, he sees him. Whenever he sees his daughter do something smart, he sees him. All he's looking at is an image, a reflection of him, of what he didn't do, but what they can do. That's all it is. It's, well, see my boy? That's me, boy. You see how he threw that punch? That's me. That's what a man sees. Women have kids to keep their name. They want to be. They know that in their nature to keep that man's legacy going. But see, that was the old wives' tale. Nowadays, they're like, oh, you like your daddy. That's all they want. That's all they want to do. To have a miniature him that either they can mold and control, or because a lot of these women, if they can't control that man, how's the best way you can control a man is through their child. That's a fact. So a lot of
But
these
if
men,
you are with a woman and you have not done the proper screening yourself to see if she's going to be controlling, manipulative,
if you
then
haven't done a
again,
proper
that's
screening,
all.
that's true.
I'm sorry.
No, okay, you asking have we done the proper screening?
If you are looking just to pound, you are not looking for characteristics outside of the pound. But if you are looking for actually a soulmate or a life mate, someone, as Eric said, will be there to literally wash your behind if need be. That's what he saw his mother do. Ultimate love was to have to bathe a man that could not bathe himself, change his diapers because he had gotten that sick. If you're looking at a person in that regard, that's one thing. But literally, I don't think a lot of young men are thinking that way because the idea of reaching 70, 80, much less the chances of them getting in a car wreck or cancer at a young age, they don't think about those things. It's like, am I enjoying myself with her? Can she pay her own bills? Good. We good. We can smash. And women that allow that to happen are usually the ones that are sitting up there in their 40s, 50s, even 60s, still out at the club looking for Mr. Charlie.
You
And
know that
then,
they got 40-year-old women that be at the clubs nowadays, be doing more vicarious things than the younger girls now. Like they got
yes,
older
I do.
women.
I have some of those older friends. I have friends who are in their 60s. One friend told me, she said, I am more attractive now to men now that I'm in my 60s than I was when I was in my 30s. I said, you're only attracted to the men that are looking to say your
Now when we're talking about this, so let's look at it like this. A lot of these older folk or people, or let's say these X gens or boomers, they watch as mama done lived her life, and now they're saying, well, why do you act like that? Why do you live like that? Why do you do the things you do? And then they can either say, well, shit, you lived your life. Hell, most women kick their daughters out when they start seeing competition, or they start seeing that, hey, this girl is going to be just like me. And I can't have that. I can't have this young girl be acting out obscenely. Either that, or we noticed that we're starting to see women saying, my daughter is my mini me. They don't try to tell them, hey, I fucked up. I should have kept my legs closed. No, they don't say that shit. They need to be telling their daughters, I should have vetted your father carefully. I didn't know that I chose him because he looked good and he actually had good mouthpiece. Women don't be telling their daughters how they fucked up. Women try to son their sons into being the man, and they try to take their daughters and make them say, "Hey, either you keep your legs closed, or don't be a fuck up like me." If we had more women doing that, because mind you, a lot of women jumped on Ti, the rapper Ti, about how he said, "Hey, I know I wasn't ain't shit, dude. I make sure that my daughter, knowing that I'm a millionaire, is going to be around other boys who are millionaires. So I got to make sure she keep her legs closed." Women got mad at him for doing that. So it's like we got to ask ourselves. We got to ask ourselves right now: what are the women? What do the women want now? And do they? Because now, let's be for real. The laws are more so for the women, not for the men. You know, a man got to fight hard for his kid. Oh, she gone. All right. So like I said, a woman, if you gonna have a child, hey, take care of your child. I ain't saying you can't have a man. I ain't saying you can't. Like I said, I ain't gonna never tell a single mother she can't get with a man. I ain't gonna never say that. You know what I'm saying? I'm never gonna stop you women from doing that. But I ask you to be realistic. You know what I'm saying? Is the talk to that man, let him know you got a child. Don't be trying to hide your kid. A lot of these women be trying to hide their kids, hide as they pregnant and stuff. If you done had sex with another man, like within a month, you might need to slow your roll from hopping from penis to penis. See, a lot of women be doing that. They be having sex with multiple men, and they look for the one dude they be trying to pick. Well, shit, BMT, that man at least got a car, a job, and he got his own spot. But damn, goddamn Junebug, he got good penis, but damn, I know that nigga ain't gonna be there to take his kid at least to GameStop. Like y'all can think, well, just because the man got money, he gonna fuck with you, take care of you. That nigga don't give a shit. That nigga do not give a damn. Y'all can't make no man just listen. Y'all women need to understand, you can't make no man be no daddy. And you damn sure can't make no mama be no mama. If they ain't gonna be that, then y'all need to understand, listen, I just need to be ready to take care of this child. Stop trying to force other people to son or mother your damn child. Ain't nobody trying to do that shit. It's 2019, man. 2020 coming up, bro. People working 2 jobs now. Ain't nobody got time to pick up a 3rd job, your child. The fuck? I got 4 kids of my own. You think I'm gonna tell some damn broad on the street, I need you to step up and be my damn next lady? The fuck? Hell no. Y'all need to stop that nonsense. We gotta be real. We gotta be real about this stuff, man. This is why we seeing a lot of these kids getting screwed over and fucked up, and then they coming out saying, "Well, when Mama dropped me off at soccer practice with damn Jerry, shit got pretty hot." Or doggone, Carla, you know what I'm saying? She touched me. Y'all, man, y'all keep on thinking, man. A lot of these people nowadays don't be fucking with kids. They do. If not that, then they be. A lot of women don't like men that have kids. I'm gonna be for real. Ain't no woman want to deal with no man with no fucking kids. They don't. Why would I want to take care of it? Why would I want to deal with? I'm gonna tell you what other women tell me. Women don't like lionesses. Don't like dealing with another cub that ain't their cub. Y'all can try to make it seem like it is what it is, but listen, this ain't Lion King. This ain't none of them damn bullshit stories. This is the facts. It ain't no black thing. It's not a white thing. This is just a human thing. People do not like taking on other people's kids unless they know exactly what they're getting into.
I think you're absolutely right. I think
especially if your child can't speak for themselves.
It's a survival instinct. Most people know that my husband has 3 other kids, but I didn't find out about 2 of the kids until after we were married.
So why did you not leave his ass?
Because, again, if you love a person enough,
fuck that. That was no love. You deceived. You were deceived. Can we agree? Can you say you were actually if you knew the full deal today, you knew what you knew now, would you have still married him?
Because the question I asked him before I agreed to ever go on a date was, "Do you have any kids?" He said, "I have a son."
Oh, he told you had a son.
And I took him 6 months from that point on to get me to go out on a date with him. I was just like, look, it's like going to see a movie with someone who's already seen it. You already have a kid. I don't have any kids. And he's like, well, my son lives in St. Louis. That summer, he introduced me to the kid. And I actually felt really sorry for the kid. The kid was like 9 years old, didn't even know how to ride a bicycle yet.
So he manipulated your feelings.
Yeah. I mean, men and women manipulate each other. It's just the way things are.
I'm not gonna lie, you and Eric's story sort of line up with this goddamn manipulating shit with the doggone. They don't tell y'all that. You see, this thank God for POF. Because see, I look up these goddamn heifers, goddamn information. Oh, tummy marks, belly stretch marks, all that shit. Why are you bipolar? Why you staying at your mama house? Well, you know, God hasn't touched me with a blessing. What the hell blessing were you waiting for? Who are you talking to? Like, I ask all these questions. Y'all men better start asking these damn questions. Women, ask the question too. If he got a nice car, ask this nigga, where the hell do you work? What do you do? Ain't no way you making that much money at Foot Locker. Ain't no way you pulling that much money. If a nigga's a lawyer, that means he in debt. So you might ask the question, so how much debt you got, nigga? Because if you got debt, I need to know what we dealing with. You need to ask questions. Taking on a child is a negative. That's a bill you have to pay for 18 years. I
mean, like this. I have yet to. I look at a lot of different child support basis, and it does seem like the stepfather is taking on more of the responsibility than the father in many cases. Not all, but many cases it is. And one gentleman I wanted to come on the show, but he's a little scared. He's actually proposing legislation.
He's a black man. He didn't want to come on and let people know he's a stepfather.
No, he's Caucasian, but he's actually down in Texas legislature trying to end child support laws.
Oh, he ain't gonna end no child support law. He ain't gonna end that shit. I'm sorry.
Well, you
got a better chance.
They did get it reduced.
But you ain't no damn child support.
They did get it reduced in Texas. They did get it reduced.
Okay, so they can get it reduced, but you ain't gonna get it gone.
Well, I'm gonna say it like this. It used to be based on the first 400,000. It's now based on the first 80.
Okay.
So that's a significant difference.
Here's the thing about it. Why would the state get rid of child support? And that's the majority of how the state gets paid.
Title IV funding is not as significant as one would imagine, but there is some funding. That's why the attorneys who work for the child support department are making about $40,000 a year, where the average attorney is making about 90 plus. In many places in Texas, the starting salary straight out of law school is about $150,000. But the child support attorneys working for the AG's office are experienced attorneys with 5 years experience just making $50,000.
What that got to do with what I just said?
I mean, I'm saying that the amount of money is not that significant.
Wait. You said the amount of money.
The amount of money that each one of those people making $50,000 a year are usually handling about 20 cases a week. It's coming in. It's a boilerplate. It's a boilerplate. It's simply guys show up, ladies show up. Everybody show us your tax returns. Okay, let's get a calculator out. There's one kid. That's 20%. 2 kids, 25%. 3 kids, 30%. We're done. Okay, we're done.
Okay, so I'm glad you tried to. See, this is why I told you didn't want me in the live then, but this is what I'm gonna have to do to you. So when you put a child in the system, first off, you got to get them registered with medical. Have you ever had a child registered with Blue Cross or any kind of Medicaid?
Yes.
Okay, so you had your kid registered with Medicaid. That's money right there, because the school gets paid extra income for every child that has Medicaid on that. I want y'all to look that up, y'all. That's how you get those lunch programs. More kids on Medicaid, especially at Walmart and different places that's subsidized for people who are lower income, Medicaid and all that stuff. They get paid for that.
Title I schools, yes.
Okay, so then after that, you're also going to have for income based. That job, now that's a state job that somebody has to get paid for to collect that. I'm sorry, but somebody has to collect that money and that revenue. Now, I get that
$2 billion a year business worldwide. I mean, nationally, $2 billion a year. But when you divide it up and it comes down, really and truly, His argument is that child support, at the end of the day,
You trying to chop it down.
collecting,
$2 billion is a lot of money.
Collecting tax spending is $2 billion of taxpayer money. Now remember,
okay, you're trying to go off a taxpayer. Now here, let's look at that. So I'm glad you brought up the taxpayer. How many kids can you collect now on taxes?
I didn't look at the new basis for 2019.
3.
I'm assuming it's like 5.
No, 3. If you knew
good.
that,
I was smart.
No, it's 3. It's 3. Trust me.
I have 3.
Trust me. Trust me. Do you know how many black people call me tax season to actually collect one of my kids on their taxes? Because the government said that, you know what, some of y'all are producing too many damn kids. So guess what? Y'all can only collect 3 kids. So that means 1 kid goes unaccounted for. However, the state will still get paid for that unaccounted kid. After 3 kids, those other kids still get paid, still get collected by the state. But you don't collect that cash, or somebody else will have to collect them. So wait, where's that money going to? Because we're trying to say that's chump change, but that is funny that the U.S. government doesn't mind collecting dreamers or illegal immigrant children that get taken care of by the state in tax money, but they sure do like collecting welfare kids, free lunch programs, free daycare program. Hey, some of that stuff got to cost money.
Hey,
and they got to be.
I got a client right now that based on SMI, she can make up to $53,000 a year. She has 2 kids, and based on that three parent income, she can make up to $53,000 a year and still get assistance with childcare. Now, I will say,
so
if she had a baby daddy that was worth anything, she wouldn't need help with childcare.
Oh, so see, now here's the thing, but I get you say she was a baby daddy. If she had a baby daddy that was worth anything, but if she had a vagina that was worth something, she probably would have kept the clothes and not been laying around with all kind of men.
She wasn't laying around with all kind of men. She's been with the same man for 10 years.
But she never. Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, I'm glad you said that. How you been with the same man for 10 years and you ain't never bothered to ask that nigga for a ring?
She asked.
And he never gave her a ring?
Nope. Wasn't quite ready.
Drink some water.
I'm cool. He just wasn't quite ready.
Just drink some water. Ain't no way I'm gonna be damn playing in the NFL for goddamn 10 years and I ain't get a goddamn ring. It's time for me to go to goddamn be a preacher or a deacon or somebody else. Like, ain't no way I'm gonna keep on letting you get on the field and play all around and you ain't giving me no goddamn ring.
I'll be honest. Did
you at least put me in the house?
No. He had the I don't want other men around my son mentality. So anytime she started to date someone who may have been interested in being a stepfather, he would interject himself into suddenly wanting to be around.
Okay, so then she was dumb enough to fall for the okie doke.
Did you say she was dumb too?
Okay, then guess what? Then make sure you say they both were 2 ain't shit people. 2 ain't shit people made babies.
I'll say it to you like I told her. I said, I'm just waiting for you to get your fill of him till you finally get it out of your fairy tale mind that this man is ever going to suddenly he may want to be a father. He may fear the idea of his kids being around another man, but he does not do so. He's not so afraid that he will actually commit and marry you.
There's a black woman.
No.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. It took you a while. I kind of figured after the
first second. She is a woman raising 2 black boys.
Oh man, they definitely fuck now. Well, okay. So now, I'm gonna say it like this.
All thing I'm saying is he's afraid. I mean, I'm looking at it like this.
Afraid of what? Child support? Is he on child support at least?
There's a child support order.
There's a child support order?
Mm-hmm.
And she don't know where he at.
She knows exactly where he's at, but she just
But
kicked
she
him
can't
off.
get child. But she ain't gonna just take it right there to him.
Well, if he had a job.
Oh, so okay. So wait, okay. So you're telling me that this woman was giving up the draws to a nigga that don't got no job for 10 years, but listening to him.
He had a dream.
He had a dream.
Mm-hmm.
What was his dream?
To be a professional student.
I got dreams too, but damn, what dream was that he had for 10 years?
Like I said, different strokes for different folks, but at the end of the day, it takes a lot for some women to wake up and smell the coffee.
What was his dream?
It takes a lot for a lot of
men.
men.
Tell me his dream?
I mean, let's be honest. There are dumb men and dumb women.
Yeah. I see.
And
what
really
was the dream that was so good?
Oh, that he was working on his degrees.
Degree? What was he gonna be, a doctor?
No, he just kind of slow getting that bachelor's degree.
Okay. Well,
like I said, you notice that's still somebody's father. You said people should not talk negatively about their child's father.
I will.
But honestly,
I will. I have no problem doing that to kids.
He needs to be taken out and horse whooped. Because I mean, it is what it is. She got 2 kids now.
She got 3 kids. Don't take that one off. She got 3 kids. Sometimes you gotta let people know that their parents weren't shit to help them build character.
Well, yeah, you can say her baby daddy was her 3rd child, but there was no tax deduction for him. But now she has 2 kids.
I bet you she still gave him part of that damn income tax check. I bet you she did.
I mean, with some people.
So,
and I've heard it, and I don't think I can do is shake my head. I've heard black men say that white women will support them better than a black woman would. And I look at this particular man and go, yeah, yes, you found the fool. You did find the fool, unfortunately. But no, I don't think it is noble to stay around for 10 years unwed. But there is this push that just because I didn't marry my baby mama don't mean I'm not committed to her. Okay.
But see, here's the thing about it. See, here's the thing. When you talk about the wifey or the woman who stayed faithful, the man who stayed faithful to something that was never going to come, or a dream, see, that type of people right there, you can't. I don't know, how do you take that? Like, I mean, I'm not gonna. Granted, some kids can't help being born in a situation that they're in.
But then when you have young boys, which is one thing the black community we have to be honest about ourselves. It appears that a super number, I won't say majority, I will say close to at least half of black men under the age of 50 were raised in single family homes. And so when
so that would mean boomers and ex-millennials failed those kids.
I would definitely look at boomer generation, the free love. So women and men are equal in every way. If men can have multiple women, then women can have multiple men. No one should say anything about it. That mentality ruined generations. There are different rules for women. There are different rules for men. It was like that 2,000 years before the boomers said free love.
So what were the ex-millennials doing? What were they doing?
The ex-millennials? You mean the X generation?
Yeah, what were y'all doing?
The X generation were much more likely to wait until they got older to even contemplate marriage, but then working out that work-life balance, working 12 to 14-hour days.
Was that between the 60s and 70s?
People Correct? Born during the 70s to mid-80s are X generation.
Okay, so that was a crack era in the black community. So majority of that community sold their kids off for crack.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it. I'll be honest. I've
Okay.
seen it.
All right. So we cannot overlook that right there. That there were parents that were literally doing dope rather than raising their kids.
Or I actually saw someone attempt to sell her baby for crack. Her argument was that the baby could pass for white. So if they would just go ahead and they could make some good money off her baby. And the baby was clean. She kept telling them the baby was clean because she hadn't used when she was
So,
pregnant.
so a woman, so from your generation, trying to sell her baby as a white baby. Jesus,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
wow. See, like I
It was
said,
bad. It was I was a teenager. And, seeing that exchange, me and my friends were remarkably shocked. But
why?
the guy took the baby and told her to get the hell away from it. The baby didn't need her. And then he turned the baby over to the authorities. So, yeah, I mean, I know where I grew up. I know what I've seen. I know where I went to school. I know where I've traveled to. There are differences in culture about if you don't grow up with a father. I hate to say it like this. I know one young man, he used to go on the conservative talking circuit and say that he could not stand Democrats, couldn't stand liberal. His mother was a liberal. His mother had 5 kids by 5 different men. He never knew who his father was.
Come on, Jesse Lee Peterson.
No, 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 no. I won't say his name. But
A
it,
lot of conservatives have a lot of angst against their past of how they grew up. Like that's just a conservative.
but
That's a lot of
he
conservative.
literally wound up marrying a woman who bailed him out of jail because he owed his other baby mama child support.
Wow, and I bet and he's a
He
speaker
realized
for
that this
conservatives.
was
Huh?
the woman he was going to marry because she bailed him out of jail. And his baby mama was the wrong one. She was wrong. That they had agreed. Now, I'm telling you the story. It cracked me up. They had agreed that he would carry the kids to get the tax refund. Even though she was here in Texas, he was stationed elsewhere in the military. He would carry the kids. They would split the refund 50-50. But in the meantime, she had to get on welfare. She had no place to stay while she was waiting on the half of the income tax check. So when she got on welfare, she had to go after the father. Him being in the military, they found him like that. And by the time he was let go of the military, he had still established a lot of back child support, and they threw him in jail for the back child support. And he was resentful, resentful of his baby mother. But this girl that he was just dating bailed him out, and he married her, and they have three kids, 4 kids. They have 4 kids, 1 daughter and 3 sons. Unfortunately, after all these years, he just left her for a younger woman whose father had money. So there are no guarantees. It's about what was his mentality to get married in the first place. It was, I found a woman that would bail me out like my mama. She was my mama. She bailed me out. And
So
that was the basis of their relationship from then on. She continued to bail him out. She worked the full-time job while he finished up college, worked part-time as a professor, and she supported his dream like a good woman. She wasn't like his mama. No, she supported her man. Now she will be old. She'll be old looking for another man because she didn't see all the signs that everyone else saw that this guy is this guy is basically using you. If you lost your job tomorrow, y'all would both be out in the street. And I'm saying that this is someone who has a PhD that is very vocal about his conservative views, but his basis for getting married was financial. Like, this woman must really love me, and she has money enough to bail me out. Great. So that's why I said women also need to share information about tells. Fathers, you need to be able to talk to your daughters when she starts dating a guy. Nope, nope. That guy ain't no good. Nope.
Mm.
So that's my look at the role of the stepfather. I mean, maybe if we had more stepfathers, real stepfathers in the black community, we wouldn't have so many boys being raised without a father in the household.
We
And
already
if,
had that. We already did that, and nothing came of it. Like the women didn't respect the men. I do know men who do have stepfathers. Some things happen good, but we already had black stepfathers in the 80s and in the 90s, and then shit came out of that. Kids still fucked up. The government and the system. Women still didn't respect the black man. Hell, they ran over to goddamn other men and sucked and fucked them. Nope, nope. That era, y'all, that card got played. So now, what's gonna happen now? Because we already tried the stepfather route. Hell, majority of boys who came out of slavery were stepfathers. So you got to ask yourself. I know some men who do have stepfathers. I'm joining. Um, they came out good, but let's be for real. 70s and 80s, Michelle, y'all had that chance. A lot of y'all ex millennials, y'all had men that were playing stepdaddy. Did y'all respect them men?
I did as a child. I definitely did. I was adopted,
So
so I definitely did respect my adopted father. My biological father, I saw him when I was 4, 10, and when I
no,
and when
you respected your biological father.
no, I respected my adopted father. My adopted
Okay.
father. The only condition that my biological father had in relinquishing his rights was I don't have to pay child support. No, you don't. Okay, fine. And my biological father, back in the 70s, he was a pistol.
Wait,
When
wait,
my,
wait. So look at that. The men back then they were just popping out babies,
no, he
but not
didn't
giving.
just pop out babies. My father, to his credit, he has 2 children, was married to both the mothers. The thing about it was my father, once he and my mother divorced, my father did not want to pay child support to this woman that would not do what he said do. And so he realized the system then was very patriarchal. So he literally brags about it to this day that he married a crackhead. Just found a woman that needed a place to stay and say, look, let's get married. You help me get my child back because I ain't paying this woman nothing. And the court ordered me into the custody of my biological father. My biological mother went by the house and liberated me, so to speak. And she then brought me to her aunt who and her husband who mutually agreed to take me on and then to adopt me. He was in his
Why did
70s
your
and she was in her
biological mother
60s.
not take you?
Huh?
Why did your biological mother not take you?
Because she lost custody.
Yeah, but she can't just take you out of a house like that. That
She
does
took me
not
out of the
work.
state. They did not know where I was for a while. But when my adopted parents consulted with a lawyer,
So she kidnapped you out of the house.
yeah, liberated is the nice way to say it now.
No, that's kidnapping. That's
Call it
kidnapping.
kidnapping, but she figured out some things about her husband that at that point in time, you know, even today, once he admitted how he felt, I no longer want to associate. I don't my children around him. He literally was a school teacher in a inner city school. He's now retired, but he admitted that there were times when he slept with his students.
Mm. So
So
what was it? What was it that your mother did that? You know what? That's for a whole different type of
oh,
show.
honey,
That's for a whole
I
different.
heard the story from his brother-in-law at the time when I first heard the story. His brother-in-law said, "Your mother came over here. She was like, I don't care what the judge said. That's my child. Ain't no other witch gonna raise my child." And She started breaking things, and he had a new car, nice house. And when the glass started flying on the car, he went out to stop her. She grabbed a piece of glass and cut him. He went running back in the house bleeding, and his wife ran out of the house and handed me to my mother and said, excuse the expression, bitch, take your baby, bitch. And my mother went to the nearest payphone, called to Texas and said, hey, can y'all help me out? Didn't know if the man was going to live or die. Only thing she knew was she had a baby and she had to put a baby somewhere where a baby was safe. That she did not want her child, her female child, being raised by a man that was essentially a pedophile. And that type of conversation was not something judges wanted to hear in the 70s. It was pretty much, women will make up stuff. That was pretty much the idea that he went along with. There was not the 15-year-old girl could not testify. She was too young to be sworn in under their laws. So my mother did the instinctive things. And when my biological father was contacted about relinquishing his rights, he's like, does that mean y'all ain't gonna ask me for no child support? They said no. He said, I take care of this child like she were my own. And he did. So I was very blessed to get out of that potentially dangerous, demeaning environment. So I do have a half sister that was very resentful my whole life. She was 24 years old when they adopted me. And she was very resentful because he treated me better than he had treated her growing up. Because he hadn't lived in the household with her. He lived in the household with me. He read me stories every night before I went to bed, taught me how to read, taught me how to ride a bicycle. I mean, he was very involved with every aspect of my life. And my mother was a traditional mother. She got up in the morning, she cooked breakfast for us both, got me dressed to sit down at the table. I mean, it was a very traditional childhood for me. So I was very blessed, and there are people who will say, oh, well, your father. I said, no, that's my biological father. I credit his DNA, genetics. I mean, he was a smart man, but there's also something incredibly wrong in his perception of the way he saw women based on the way he saw his mother and other women around him treated by his stepfather.
Okay.
So I'm saying that you're right. There was a role some stepfathers. Why was his stepfather like he was? He was a man that got with a woman that had already had one kid. They got a son. He married her, but he was a horrible person. It just happened. I mean, he was so horrible. He had 5 kids. He had 5 kids with his wife, and a total of 27 kids that we knew of. That was on his obituary. 27 kids. They said, we think we got them all. So he married a woman that stood by her man till death did them part. Excuse me for stuttering. And over the course of their marriage, she had 5 kids, and he had 22 other kids outside the marriage. I had a legal assistant who was a daughter of a close family friend. And she said, imagine how dumb I felt growing up as a kid. The girl was now 16. She said, growing up as a kid, I told everyone that my father was white. Come to find out, my father was the handyman that has 18 other kids. Yes, black women can be hoes. I mean, what else are you going to call it? You have a husband and you try to convince him that the child is biracial when the child is not biracial. So you're now talking about 2 girls that were misled by their mother into believing this white man was their father. He was married to her. He thought they were his too. And the her oldest daughter just had her first grandchild, and she's still sending that man photos, hoping that one day he will um, acknowledge. Because when she had her twin children, a boy and a girl, she sent him a letter. She kept a copy of it that said, "Daddy, will you believe that I am your child? Because one of the twins is extremely light, like you." Her mother will not tell her who else her father could be. At least the youngest one found out that her father was the handyman with 18 other kids. But they now have an adult. As adults, they have a new stepfather, and he married. He was older. He needed somebody to help wipe his ass. Got diabetes. Got sick. She's sick. So you two old folks that are living in a very dysfunctional relationship because when they were younger, they scattered kids all over the place. I mean, that's just the reality of why did we get to where we are? Yes, a lot of people came from dysfunctional family. A lot of men just need to sit down and say, my mama was a hoe. Yes, my mother was a hoe. You know, love her to death, but she was a hoe. And that's why I don't trust women. I don't trust women based on what I saw my mother do. A lot of women have the same issue when it comes to men. It's what they saw their fathers or stepfathers do. More than likely, it is the mama's boyfriend, how their mama held on to a no good man. So you can do bad all by yourself. Do men have
Okay.
that expression?
Yeah.
Joe,
I mean, yeah, I know, I agree. No, men do. That's why I said if I got separated, I rather just. I'm not going to say I wouldn't date.
I mean, nobody thinks you're going to be celibate, but I'm
Yeah,
saying
like
that,
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, would I ever not talk to a single mother? No, I'm not going to say that because I agree with Eric on the fact that hey, some women, they probably, they're really good women that got a shitty deal. I agree. I agree with that. And they could probably mean well.
yeah, I mean,
But also, um, I also don't want to be that guy that that's gonna be the cleanup guy. I'm not gonna. If I know, that's why I said I'm for vetting. Not no, we got too much stuff going on nowadays.
yeah, and I agree. And that you call it manipulation, I call it vetting. I'm right with you. Within that, you let them know very beginning, I have a child. Will that be a problem for you? First, before you go on the date, I have a child. Within, you know, 10 dates, if he's still around by date number 8, start considering whether or not this person is the kind of person you would consider, even remotely considering being around your child, even temporarily, to explore whether or not this is a package deal they could accept. Because you heard Eric say it took him 6 months to warm up to the kid itself, for them to establish their own relationship. That the I mean, Eric and I are really good friends. And the pain that he went through hearing, what did you guys do last weekend? Oh, we went out with mommy's new boyfriend. It was like, huh? She's having you around some strange guy. It was not good. He was not in a good space about that. But that's a risk that you take when you have children with a woman you've never been married to, or when you get a divorce. So it's something you should strongly consider. You cannot control what goes in her house once you leave her house or thrown out of her house. Anyway, Joe, thank you so much. This
Yep.
was Thank you, everyone who's watching. Thank you for bearing with us for all of our technical difficulties, etc., etc., etc. But one of the things I'm going to tell men, that if you believe that the law is unfair to men, Guess where you go to change the law? You go to your state capital. You go to your state capital and you talk to your elected representatives and you explain to them why it's not fair. That, yeah, that money that's coming to the state is not worth the additional long term consequences to the community. Am I right about that, Jeff?
That is correct. I agree
I
with
mean,
that.
if we're going to say that, look, we tried to have a safety net for women who make mistakes, women and men who make mistakes. It turned out to be anything but a safety net. Maybe if women went back to knowing that, hey, if you have a child by a man that you're not married to, guess what? Out on your own. You have to support that child by yourself. Does it let the men off the hook? It's a risk. It's a risk. It was a risk that went on for 2,000 years. That if the guy did not want to give that child his name, then that child did not inherit. And we got namby-pamby around the 90s. Oh, there should never be such a thing as a bastard child. All children should be created equally by their father. And they started to change the laws so that baby mamas and wives were treated the same way, regardless of whether or not did he mean to have a child. Did he consent to have a child with a woman that was not his wife? Well, he consented to have sex. That's two different things. So once you go down to your legislature, you make your case. Fathers' rights groups are out there. They are composed of black men, white men, fathers, stepfathers. There are some stepfathers who want to be able to say, look, I can't keep you away from the kid, but I don't want my wife accepting any money from another man. And they are actively pushing for 50-50 custody, and they're telling the stepdads, keep your money. They're telling the dads to keep their money. Now, I don't know how many black men thought about that idea. How would you like to see child support work? What changes would you like to make seen? Just sitting around saying the law is not fair to men. There are men actually out there trying to change the laws. I think that from a black perspective, what would you like to see when it comes to child support, Joe?
I probably would see become better educated with the laws and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I would like to see black men more so educated on when it comes to these laws, especially there's a lot of things that we just don't know, or every state plays differently. Um, every state plays differently with the laws, and we gotta learn them. Another thing I
And
like
once
to
you
see is
learn
the
it, what would you
bias.
like to see changed? I mean, sometimes it just comes down to
There's
based on
bias.
your own personal experience as men. Based on, for some, for example, some men are fighting against what they call debtor's prison, being forced into jail because they owe back child support. They said that's unfair to men. Should
Well, that
we
is
end
unfair.
that?
That
I
is
mean,
unfair. That is very unfair. And I mean, the child support doesn't stop while you're in jail, and then you. All right. So I mean, that is a
keep
very
talking just for
unfair
a second.
thing.
We'll pull up a website. I'm going to
I
pull
mean,
up a
we
website.
could definitely have this talk. I mean, that is a very unfair thing that does happen to a lot of men. That they get forced to pay child support while they're locked up, and they can't even really defend themselves, or So I mean, there's a lot of things that can be said about this that I feel that aren't that we don't have enough time right now. But I definitely we can always address them another time. You know.
Oh yeah, well, I'm pulling up something real quickly. Let me see if I can get it. How do I do it? This is what for our next show. I really want you to look at this government program. Why won't you? There it is. National responsibility. National. Here we're gonna get it. We're gonna pull it up right. I'm gonna show you how to get this. I'm gonna pull it up full. There it is. Do you see this website?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I see it. National
Do I have the
Responsible
website on there? Are
Fatherhood
you still there?
Claim. Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah.
It's www.fatherhood.gov. It's a national resource for fathers who are struggling with child support payments and arrearages. It shows fathers who may not have a home to bring the kid to, how to apply to get housing assistance, food assistance, so that they can get at least 50% custody of the kid. This is a national resource out there for fathers. Fatherhood.gov. And I think it's very important that men do educate themselves on the laws that are out there and the ways that they can change the laws, because this didn't always exist. Fatherhood.gov gives men who are in jail, it shows them how they can have their arrearages forgiven while they're in jail.
I agree.
You got speechless there for a minute.
No. I didn't get speechless. I'm just letting it wrap up. I'm just, like I said, I'll save it for another show.
Okay, I want you to stay up on. Anyway, I was wrapping up before. I meant to say thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm learning the technical side of things. So if I'm wrong on something, it will only get better. And I'm really thank everyone for tuning in. This is Nichelle's World. I'm going to let Joe and everybody sign out. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, guys.